Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the stream. Some of you probably thinking you're an hour early again. What happened? Well, daylight savings finally happened here, so for all those that were like, "Oh, we don't have to get up early anymore. She's back to her regular time." No, this is my regular time now. So I'm back. I think this is going to be my usual time from now on. Though admittedly, it was actually hard to get up this morning. I have a hard enough time trying to get up earlier just to do the stream earlier. Now I have to get up even earlier because the time changes, but, goodness. So hope y'all had a good weekend. I probably just need to officially change the time now. I haven't really changed it on my official schedule. I know I've been kind of putting it off because... Oh no, I've got the gray screen. Monday. Every Monday this happens. Every single Monday. I swear this game gray screens on me. Basically, nothing's happening right now. If you want to see what's going on, this is what's going on. This is what I get. Like every Monday, this is a thing that happens. Because for some reason the game just buggers on load. Let's try this again. Take two. I mean, I'm not misremembering, right? This happened last Monday too, didn't it? Someone go back through the footage, find out. There it goes. There we go. It's on now. Right. Morning, Dark Omen. How's it going? Need to move my mouse out of the way, huh? Yep, so this is back to my normal time now that daylight savings happened. It's nice to actually... It was 7:30 last night and it was still daylight outside. That was so nice. Man. I had a rough weekend though, like a really rough weekend. It was an okay weekend. I wasn't really feeling good all weekend. And then this weekend was my girlfriend's parents' anniversary. And I went under great protest. I feel like a bit of an ass for that, but at the same time I just wasn't feeling good that day. And then yesterday I was feeling horrible. Didn't sleep well. You didn't sleep well? I slept okay, actually, finally. But yeah, this weekend, as I've mentioned before over the past couple years, I've got a wisdom tooth that bothers me once in a while. And it stopped to bother me like, it used to be it would, like, once a week. I would have a pain day, and that'd be it. And the rest of the week I'm fine. Over the past week, it was just this very, very incredibly dull pain that I could kind of mostly ignore. And then over the weekend it started getting more intense. Yesterday morning, I was in severe pain. And it eventually subsided yesterday and I'm fine now, so. But I think that tooth is pinching a nerve. So yeah, I'm adjusting the volume on my headphones. Special gift from Twitch Prime. Oh yeah, because it had the update, right? Let's see what this is. Special gift is available to Twitch Prime users. Oh, I'm not a Twitch Prime user. I should get it as a Twitch streamer. Shouldn't I? I'm not gonna do it though. You would think as a Twitch affiliate I would get that automatically, right? I think it's a chocobo that you get if you do Twitch Prime. Yeah, that was the update that was on Thursday. So yeah, that was my weekend, and then of course daylight savings hitting this weekend. My sleep schedule's now. I need to have it removed, I know, but insurance doesn't cover it. That's the only downside. It's like I've got health insurance, but it doesn't cover dental, so. And plus I'm just scared. I haven't seen a dentist since I was 14 years old. I'm 37. So, And I mean, I don't have cavities or anything. My teeth are fine. And, you know, 3 of the 4 wisdom teeth came in, and they're fine too. It's just the one that's bothering me. So, yeah, no, I need to get it going. And I think Sunday my girlfriend was like, you want to set up an appointment maybe or something, or look into it to get that thing removed? I'm like, yeah, let's do it, because I can't take it anymore. Plus, I'm starting to think it's what I feel up here. Because sometimes I get this, like, tension right around here on my eye. I guess I should load the game, because this is going to take a while to load. And I'm starting to think that's what it is, the tooth. Because there's this whole nerve that runs up the side of your face, and I think one of the, like, low chance but risks of removing a wisdom tooth is that you can strike that nerve, and you'll, like, go numb on the whole side of your face. But yeah, I think that's what this feeling is up here. So yeah. Well, I kept thinking, you know, all this time, the other 3 came in fine, and I was like, okay. I kept thinking, you know, it's eventually got to quit, right? I don't think it's going to. You had all 4 of yours removed, and you're 18. I should have. But, I mean, the only reason I haven't seen a dentist is because I can't ever afford it. That's the only thing. But, so yeah, but this tooth is sideways, I know it is. Because I can feel it just under the gum line, like it's not exposed, but I can tell it's sideways. So I think it's pushing this way. So I kept thinking, oh, it's got to quit eventually, but I don't think it is. It's been like 2 years now. I think I got to get it taken care of. I kept hoping maybe it would breach, and I'm like, well, if it breaches, then it'll be easier to get out, but if it doesn't breach, then they're gonna have to cut it out. I think I have to cut it out anyway. Usually the other way around, 3 years are impacted and 1 was fine. Yeah, I think this one's impacted. I think that's it. Which made me more not wanting to go to the dentist. I was like, if it's impacted, I really don't want to go. But, yeah. It's getting to the point where I just can't take it anymore, so. Back away from the door. There we go. So yeah, that was my weekend. It was a rough weekend. Season 8 of My Little Pony started, and it was good. It was a 2-parter. The first half was kind of boring, and I was like, oh no, it's gonna be a boring season. And then the second half was actually quite good, and I'm like, okay, now I've got hope for the season. So there's 2 seasons left. Season 9 is supposed to be the final one, so then they go on to Generation 5. So, oh yeah, another thing is, I found out some information about this game, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know what it is. So, basically, you know how they kind of skipped over a bunch of stuff? You remember how, in the beginning, you know, Insomnia gets taken over? You know, they just show a quick, like, snap of the moment snippet of what happens. And you see nothing else. There's a movie that explains everything that happened in that moment. There's a whole movie about the fall of Insomnia and what happened. And it explains so freaking much that this game doesn't explain and won't explain. So the movie is called Kingsglaive. And the Kingsglaive is actually the king's army, which the king grants his magic to, and grants the warp ability that Noctis has. And, yeah, well, there's a CG movie that's called Kingsglaive, and there's also a short anime, I think, which I haven't seen that yet. I did watch Kingsglaive over the weekend. Kingsglaive was a CG one. But basically, so apparently, this explains a lot that this game's not going to cover. So, apparently a lot of people were not happy with the King of Insomnia, because what basically happened that we do kind of know is that the Empire slowly started taking over everywhere. They couldn't take over Insomnia because of the barrier. So they were basically taking everywhere outside of Insomnia. So what happened was, when Noctis was young, he got an injury, which in some of the flashbacks you see him in a wheelchair, but they never explain what the hell that's about. So he suffers an injury. So they take him to Tenebrae, which is where Lunafreya is from. She's the princess of Tenebrae. So on his way, he goes there secretly with his father, and they meet in secret, but then the Empire shows up, and him and the King Noctis managed to escape, but they take over Tenebrae. So now, Tenebrae is now part of the Empire. Lunafreya and her brother, I think Ravus is his name, I think, if I remember. He, becomes part of the Empire, not by will, but, of course that means Ravus kind of gets upset, like, the king, the king was the cause of this, everything. And so, of course, Ravus becomes part of the Empire's army, not really by any choice of his own. And so that's kind of that. And then, so eventually, more in recent history, the Chancellor comes to Insomnia and says, I got a proposal. Let us have your territories outside of Insomnia, everywhere outside the wall, and we'll end this war. You can keep Insomnia, and we'll end this war, and that'll be it. Also, there's one more condition. Your son needs to marry Lunafreya. So the king only does this because he's getting old. His magic's not going to last forever. So he reluctantly goes for it. And, but he's kind of aware the Empire is going to be a bit cheaty on this. So there's this whole thing that goes on in this movie about them trying to get Lunafreya away from the Empire. They ultimately fail. And, eventually, they find that the Empire, because they capture Lunafreya again for some reason, because she makes it, sorry, I'm butchering this. She makes it to Insomnia, and then that night, the day of the signing of the treaty, she's kidnapped. She's disappeared, and they find out that the Empire is taking her somewhere just out the city, and they find out there's an army out there. So the king's like, oh, so we know they're doing something here. So the king sends his Kingsglaive out. But it turns out that was a trap to get the Kingsglaive away from the king. And, so they do that, and they want the crystal, of course. That's what they're after. So there's this whole war thing that goes on. But eventually, what happens is they cut the king's hand, and the ring that Noctis is wearing right now comes off. And now I know why Noctis was so damn reluctant to put on the ring. Because, again, this movie covers what this ring is. So basically, this ring has forbidden magic in it, which of course it's got death and void and all that. But whoever puts on the ring has to prove themselves worthy to the past kings. So when Ravus shows up in front of the king, he grabs the ring and says, I'm truly the worthy one, your son was not worthy. He puts on the ring, and a moment in time happens that you don't really see, but he comes back and his arm starts burning. And you remember in the game it says, does it look like something's different about his arm? He's got a Magitech arm now, what's up with that? Well, in the movie it's because he was proven unworthy and his arm burns off. So basically anyone who puts on the ring and is deemed unworthy normally dies, actually. They completely go up in flame. But what happens is time stops. They stand before the past kings and they must prove themselves. you know, that the kings will give them the power. And so everyone fails, except one of the king's glaives. One of the king's glaive actually manages to make his case to protect Lunafreya, to get her out of the city. Because Noctis is already out of the city, so Noctis doesn't know what's happening in Insomnia, which is what the king wanted. The king was trying to get Lunafreya and Noctis out of the city, because he knew it was all going to fail, and he knew he was going to die. So, but this is why Noctis was so damn reluctant to put on the ring, because he knew he was going to have to prove himself, and if he was not worthy of the past kings, then he was going to die for putting on the ring. So that explains why he didn't want to do it, and that explains so many pieces of this game that wasn't explained, that I kept thinking they're going to explain this. And it turns out the King's Glaive movie explains so much. So, you know, Thursday we were wondering, it's like, just put on the ring, Noctis, just put it on. Why are you being such a baby about it? Oh, that's why he's being such a baby about it, because he could die if the past kings don't think he's worthy. So, yeah. Yeah, see, it's a lot of information that people should know. But, and see, I don't know what's in the anime yet. I think the anime is supposed to cover these guys and kind of what they're up to. So yeah, that's some information that should have been known. And apparently, you know, this game took 10 years to develop, and I'm sorry I'm like not playing the game while I'm sure people on YouTube is like, yeah, we know this, play the game. But yeah, so it turns out that's a lot of information that we kind of needed to know. And apparently Insomnia is just completely destroyed. In fact, in the movie you see it. The battle that takes place is so damn intense that Insomnia is just pretty much wiped out. So yeah, but yeah, and apparently in the 10-year development of this game.
What's this smoke? Where's it coming from?
Aha! Well, you can't say I didn't warn you.
Getting thicker by the second. Need to stop it.
Yeah, okay. So, me stole a potion. So yeah, there's tons of information. They needed to cover.
Oh, it's clearing. That was close.
Stop stealing my potions. Yeah, in this game they don't even cover the King season where they exactly they skip over so much. But as I was gonna say, is in the 10-year development of this game, apparently a ton of shit was actually cut out. Even gameplay, like you can find videos of stuff that was supposed to be in this game and it got cut. I don't know why. Maybe it was a budget reason, because I mean, this game is kind of big on its own, but it seems like the pacing of this game is very off. Like, it feels like there's huge chunks missing and a lot of off-camera stuff, so I don't know. It feels like yeah, there was stuff that was missing, and maybe they made. I mean, I can't imagine though, because that movie was pretty high quality. So I can't imagine there was a budget reason that they went, oh well, we can't do it in the game. So
Such a tease.
but I don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff missing, and there's odd pacing issues in this story, and stuff that, you know, again, is covered in the movie but isn't covered in the game. So if you're interested in seeing, you know, that happen, look up Kingsglaive. In fact, the soundtrack to that is in the game. You know, when we're driving down, you know, when you choose a soundtrack to listen to while in the car, Kingsglaive is one of the soundtracks. Yeah. I mean, I think you have to buy the movie. I don't know where you could even buy it, so I kind of looked it up on some sites, but you know. I spent the weekend watching. I still need to find the anime and figure out what it's about, but it's like, yeah, there's just information missing. I mean, this game seemed to like go off. I mean, I like this game. I like the gameplay. I like the story to it. Even the story seems to like have serious pacing issues. Because, I mean, man, it just seems to take off. Like, you go to the city, you fight Leviathan, and then suddenly it's like... It never really covers some stuff. Like, you know, because Lunafreya talks about the darkness. You know, Lunafreya talks about the darkness, but it's so like... Well, what's the darkness? And then you find out the darkness is a real thing. And then it's like, oh look guys, it's snowing now in the desert. That shouldn't happen. And then, oh yeah, it's getting dark, and it's gonna be dark forever now. And you're just going... That just came out of nowhere. Like, sure, now that seems pretty dire. It's like, did nobody want to cover this before? They spent money on the anime. Why would they not include it even as a comic that comes with the game, or make the movie a DLC so people know what happened? Yeah, I'm not sure how you're supposed to get the movie though. Like, I'm truly not sure. Yeah, and it seems like if they spent the money on it, I don't know, there's just something like, why did they do that? That's such an odd thing. I mean, obviously they had sponsorship too. Maybe the best I can figure is it's some weird budget thing. Because obviously this game had sponsorship with, you know, Cup Noodle and Coleman. There was sponsorship in this game. So it makes me wonder if it's some weird budget thing. And of course, you know, again, you know, it took this game 10 years to be developed, so... I don't know. Like I say, I like the story, I like the gameplay. It just feels like it's very choppy sometimes. The pacing feels a bit off. Very unusual for a Final Fantasy. So yeah, now we know why this ring is so bad, you know, because it's filled with forbidden magic, and the past kings must deem you worthy to use it. And that's why Noctis was being such a baby about it. Thanks for letting us know. It kind of reminds me of Xenogears. If you've ever played Xenogears, it's one of my favorite games as well. It suffered a big budget cut. They ran out of budget before the game was done. Yes, you must remove these sections because you don't have Coleman Cup of Noodle. Because you can actually find, like, there's a part of the game in Xenogears where it becomes mostly narrated, like a lot of stuff happens and it's all narration. That was cut content from the game, and if you actually look on one of the game discs, you can actually find a movie, a CG movie that wasn't included in the game. It was supposed to be, because what happened was the game ran out of budget. So I don't know what you're doing, buddy. Just do it. Huh? He's looking at me. I don't know what you're doing, buddy. So yeah, I guess that's all I can figure is maybe it was some weird budget thing. What's it about? It's part of the whole Xeno line. Like Xeno Chronicles, I think, is part of the Xenogears universe. But Xenogears is basically... it's so damn convoluted to explain, and I actually want to play it on stream one day. But basically, there are these, you know, basically big robots, Gundams, but they're called Gears. And, you know, they've been unearthed on this planet, and you find out that there's this whole past going on this planet. I wish I could explain it, because it's a very... I love it because it's such a good story. But it takes so many twists and turns. It's amazing. Like I said, I kind of want to play it on stream one day, because it would be really good. It's very old though. It was a PS1 game, and the graphics would not age. Hey, I pushed B, dick. Stop it. Don't get up. I mean that. Don't get up. It's a shop. Sure. Nothing I really need. So yeah, all this stuff is actually for selling. Not that I need it.
Security clearance raised to level 4. Access to level 4 zones authorized.
I should play it, it sounds interesting. I should. I've been trying to think how to do it because it's got a neat combat system, but the combat system is also very grindy. I'd have to think about how I want to go about that. That's the problem with playing old games that involve grinding, because you're just sitting there going, how do I go about streaming this? Because the way the combat system in that game is, you have like moves, but you learn them by trying to do them. And then if you do them enough, you eventually learn them. Could just mod it so I know them all already. Save myself the pain. Because I've played that game like 1,000,000 times. I love it. I haven't played it in probably 10 years or so. Longer actually, probably like 15 or even 20 years. It's an old game. Really old. working.
You really are helpless without your friends babysitting you.
I'm doing just fine. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Kicking ass here.
I have grave doubts about your friends.
You know what? Let's change route, because I want to see what the hell they're up to. Characters Gus and Deer do not carry over from the main game. Sure, I want to see what they're up to. Play the prologue of that game. Has an interesting start of the story, but right now it seems to be online only. Which game is it? I want to see what these guys are up to. I'm not doing it because it's easy. I just want to know what they're doing. So much of this game takes place off camera, and that's kind of annoying too. Oh, know what you're talking. The one that was originally Beyond Despair, but they remade it. Yeah, I had picked it up, you know, because I was an owner of Beyond Despair. I did pick up the beta key for that, so it's online only, huh? Interesting. Can you not play? You can't play on your own at all?
Going up.
Is there a way forward?
Well, there's a way, but I don't see us going forward without facing off with the demons.
But now Noct is facing them alone. There must be some way we can help him.
Perhaps I could be of service.
What are you doing here?
Why, I come bearing gifts.
The hell?
See? Gifts. Now, I believe a thank you is in order.
For what? Another one of your stupid tricks?
Here I am, helping for a change, but I can see I'm not wanted.
I'm loath to trust him.
Same. But at this point, we need all the help we can get.
See, one thing I also want, I want to see.
I ought to have been more cautious. If anything were to happen to Nocte,
Can't move forward if you're always looking backward. Quit thinking about what you could have done then, and start thinking about what you can do now.
you're right. What's done is done.
But one thing I want to see that, you know, again they just glossed over, you know, it's saying that they let the demons took over the Empire. I want to see that. I don't want it glossed over, where they say, "Oh yeah, the Empire got completely taken over by demons and it's overrun now." No, let me see that in some capacity. I want to see that happen. Alright, so we're doing this because we want to see what these guys are up to. So I guess this is part of this is the one that would have explained in the DLC how to fight as Gladios. Gladiolus. Which would have been real nice for them to tell me before. Oh, yeah, I know where we are. Are we going like the same path?
So if we can conjure our weapons again, does that mean Noct can too?
I have a feeling the Chancellor isn't so generous.
How come?
He may have feigned friendship, but he's proven a foe before. We'd best be careful.
Just let only the prologue is single player. The other choices are host and join. We'll have to look at it again sometime. I'm interested to see what all they've done with it, you know. Why they decided to scrap the old one and basically rehash it. I'm curious. And you would like to, it'd be nice to know how they took over exactly. That's what I feel like. Again, so much of this game takes place off camera. I mean, sure, you get DLC to see where Gladiolus went, but that DLC didn't even come out until well after the game was released, so people would have beat the game the entire time wondering where the fuck he went off to. And it's never touched upon ever in the game. I mean, the DLC is nice, but it just feels like they cut out portions of the game unnecessarily. Yes, I know how to do this now.
Want some?
Oh, I love this camera work. Okay, so this is apparently where it got split off, because Noctis went that way, I think, right? Or are we still in the same... No, we're still in the same area, so Noctis is at this point ahead of us. But that wasn't open. Okay, so that's different. Because Noctis had to go through that way. It's gonna be interesting to see what the parallels are. The only reason I'm doing this now too is because I don't know if the game's gonna give me the option later. Considering it gave me the option to do normal difficulty or easy. I'm just like, well, does that mean you're just not gonna let me see what these guys did? I want to see what these guys did. Of course, half of me is wondering now if I won't be able to go back to Noctis.
This is the Imperial Security Bureau. A situation has arisen in several research sectors. All civilians must relocate to their designated refuge stations immediately. Failure to evacuate will result in incarceration or other appropriate disciplinary procedures. This emergency broadcast will repeat until the situation has been resolved. The Imperial Security Bureau thanks you for your cooperation.
You think that situation is us? Or something else?
The latter, I presume. Whatever it is must be a matter of considerable scale to warrant such a warning. Keep your ears open. These broadcasts might help us understand what's going on outside.
Isn't that how DLC work? All DLC work, cut out parts of the game that are already in so they can make more money. Well, DLC used to work that, you know, it was supposed to be an additional part of the game. Unfortunately, in this game, DLC is filling in the gaps that should have been there to begin with. It's almost like EA got its grubby little fingers into this game. It didn't, but it feels like that's what happened. 'Cause that's what EA does. They snip out pieces of the game and then offer you DLC to fill it back in. Really annoying. Hi. Oh, Brine Shrimp Lady. Okay, so Noctis came through here. I remember that much. So we're just tailing behind him at this point. In fact, we're not doing half the stuff Noctis had to do. Makes sense.
It's dead silent.
More like undead silent. Place is crawling with demons.
Look for Noctis. So let me guess, there's not gonna be a way to switch back. Well, now I'm... We can reload, though. Hopefully. Should be able to. We can reload and, like, finish Noctis's run.
Right this way, gentlemen.
This way.
Proceed with caution.
Over here.
Honestly, are you even listening?
Trying not to.
Keep going a little closer. Yes, that's a good boy.
Hold up.
What is it?
Found some kind of secret passage.
Led here by our guide.
Long as it's a step in the right direction, I'll take it.
Okay. I ain't gonna do what the man tells me to do. This is just where I came from. This is exactly where I came from.
Where are we now?
Wherever it is, it's a mess. Watch your step.
You don't want to trip over this high potion. You'll have to step over it. It's higher than other potions. It's okay. See, this one's a regular potion. You don't have to step as high over that one.
Jeez, these things gone haywire or something.
How did you get over there so quickly?
Hey, Iggy. Think we might have found the control room. Got lots of monitors and stuff.
Take a look.
Which may help us monitor the rest of the keep. Does anything look operable?
I'm more of a low-tech kind of guy, but I'll see what I can do. What have we here? Huh. Looks like they wiped everything.
All of it?
Yep. Wait, I got something. There's one surveillance tape they forgot to erase. Almost like they wanted us to see it.
Why did they erase them?
Well, then we best have a look. Whatever's on that tape might help us locate Noct and Prompto.
What of the Hydraean's power? What of my precious ring?
By the hand of the Oracle, they are with the King now, their rightful owner. And someday soon he shall use them to purge our star of its scourge.
But the crystal is mine. I am the one true king.
Nay, it is Noctis and none other. Certainly not a puppet of the darkness and the demons it has borne.
You are the puppet, and you must die.
So that's what happened to him.
At last you have arrived, Noctis.
That didn't happen though.
The gods have shown you their favor. As blood of the Oracle, I present you your father's glaive. Now, go forth, my king. Shine your light unto the world.
This didn't happen though. This isn't how it happened.
Spare me your sycophancy.
Because it's not him.
I've indulged your false heroism for far too long.
You tried to save the world in my
Yeah,
stead, but
it's
it
him.
wasn't enough. The crystal chose me, not you. Aw, Rejection hurts, doesn't it?
Okay, so that's what happened to him. Nice.
Was that Noct?
No, just that scumbag Chancellor posing as him.
It sounded like Ravus tried to return His Majesty's sword.
Yeah, guess he finally got over his grudge. Even called Noct his king. Let's move. If that's what he did to Ravus, there's no telling what he'll do to Noct. Looks like Arden bought himself some time.
Then we've none to waste. We need to find Noct before he does.
We were always under the impression the Final Fantasy series was a series. You watch a 3-minute short on 113 and none of them are connected. Now you understand why they're so different. Yeah. They're all absolutely different. Every one of them's different. Unless it's like, you know, 13.1, 13.2, or 10.1 and 10.2. Those are the only ones that are connected. Everything else is different. The only thing that really kind of connects Final Fantasy is that there's always a Cid, and usually there's a Biggs and Wedge. They're not in all of them, but there's usually Biggs and Wedge. But they're not like the same one. It's just that's the connection they have every single Final Fantasy. There's always a Cid, and then there's usually a Biggs and Wedge. That's it. But yeah, the entire series isn't connected at all. Right. I'm getting a lot of Final Fantasy VI vibes here, though. Because the Chancellor is very much like Kefka from Final Fantasy VI. You've got the evil empire that was taking over everything with Magitech. And the Emperor is just a deluded fool trying to take over ultimate power. And the Chancellor is really the one running everything. This very much feels like the subplot. This feels like, at its core, the plot to Final Fantasy VI. Thinking like it was Zelda where it just jumps around. Well, I think Zelda, I don't think any of the Zeldas are connected either. They're just they're all different every time. So like they're never ever connected. Because I think that's what Zelda is. I don't think Zelda is connected to each other.
Looks like some sort of cargo bay.
Then there's a high probability the crystal passed through here at some point in time. Is there a lift nearby they could have used to transport it?
And not over here. Might be something up ahead.
And then there's some trivia about Final Fantasy, which I'm sure a lot of people know by now. But the reason it was called Final Fantasy was because the game company was going under at the time, so they were going to make one last game. So they called it their Final Fantasy. And then that game saved the company, so that's why it's been that's why it's called Final it's called Final Fantasy, and there's so many of them. It turned out to be the series that saved them all. Hello? Oh no! Oh, this is going to be a problem, yes. Ow. Ow. Don't. be like the other one, he's just gonna keep respawning. Knock came through here, but he went the other way.
Right here.
Roger.
Hello, Ania. Thanks for streaming this game. You really love it. I'm enjoying it too. I know we were talking about some of the problems this game has, but I've been enjoying it a lot. Yeah, well, you can check out YouTube, or I do have the VODs up. The VODs are up as well, so... The YouTube ones are a bit behind. They're higher quality, but they're just behind. But all the VODs are up. Whoa! I went through this weekend and cleaned up last week's. Yeah, because there's where Noct went down. Because he activated the elevator and then got knocked down. Then that's where he saw Ravis, and then... That's rare. They're not going to let me switch back, are they? Oh well. You can always reload. In here. I think what I like about this game the most is the gameplay is fun and I love the characters.
We ought to be close to the core of the keep by now.
And that's probably where they're keeping the crystal.
And most likely where Noct is headed as we speak.
I like the characters and all that, and the gameplay is fun. Just the story jumps around. Can we like, yeah, we can reload. Which we might do if it ends up like jumping us ahead in the story or something. If we like reunite with Noct, then we'll load back onto his path. So we can like finish seeing his perspective. Didn't know that could happen. I guess that was, yeah, that was the new move he had learned when he fought Gilgamesh. Doing all right back there, Ignis? Really gotta get you a bell or something. Oh yeah, I don't know if you saw Dark Omen. Did you see the picture I posted last night on Twitter? That one, a slightly cropped version of it, is gonna be the next emote. It's the tier 2 emote. I put it in for approval. Just hasn't gotten approved yet.
Hey, there it is.
What is it?
The crystal. Right here on the screen.
Then we're close. Do you see any sort of control panel?
Sure do.
If it's anything like the Citadel, there should be a barrier barring access.
Well, then we unbar it. You just tell me what to do.
Right.
You didn't see it. And I can always add more, that's the thing. I can add like as many as they want, I can just only use certain ones at a time. And I can swap them around as well. Mother?
Thieves cannot escape the hand of justice. The crystal is mine. Never shall I loose my grip.
Is that you, Emperor?
The crystal, the light, the power, all of it. Mine.
Yeah, it is him. He's been,
Try this! Any last words?
Oh, he disappeared. Little bitch. Get a potion going. Picking on a blind guy. He's never gonna see that coming.
I can't hear it anymore. Is it dead?
Not yet. It just disappeared. You never seen one that talked like that before.
No one's so fixated on the crystal.
I thought Irenaeus and the demons were afraid
Maybe
of
like
the
moths
crystal.
to a flame. Or it may be one of the Empire's alternative facts.
Whichever it is, that monster's still on the loose.
And we need to find it before it finds Noctis Ponto.
Oh dear, I can see the light fading from your friend's eyes.